What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Thought Process. How's everybody doing? Happy Friday. What's going on, Greg? How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. Just been learning a few new things this week. That two main things really: the stock market and I don't know if you consider it a meditation or not. I hadn't told you about this, but it was like a full relaxation, and I've never been able to do that while being awake, like consciously being able to relax. And
Really?
yeah, dude, I set the mood so good, dude. It was pretty crazy.
Did you light up some candles too?
It wasn't a candle, but it was a what is it called? The incense thing.
Incense? So you started doing meditation?
No, I didn't do any meditation, none of that. Yeah, so I took a bath, right? All right,
Okay.
but this is what I did. Okay, I went into the bathroom. I closed the door. I have one of those incense things that it shoots out the it's the water one. So you put the essential oils in an infuser, I think is what it's called.
Yeah. Like like
So
like a humidifier?
yeah, kind of like that. So I put the essential oils in. This one it's called Creative.
Okay.
Um, so I put that in, turned it on. I had that going. I turned on my sink to as hot as it could go,
Mm-hmm.
and I turned on my bath as hot as it could go to get all the buildup of the why can't I think of the word?
I don't
Of
know.
the I was gonna say smog.
Of
But
the of
of
the
the
steam?
steam, yeah. So I
The
made that room a
smog.
steam
I was
room.
gonna say,
And,
Greg.
and I put my clothes against the door of the bathroom so none of the air would go out. I had the lights turned off so the vent wasn't sucking any of the I can't even remember the name of the word again. The steam. Dang. The steam. So it was just like steamy in there. The bath was so hot I had to turn on the cold water a little bit so it cooled it down so I could get in. And then I don't have a blindfold or anything, so I got a sock. And I'm not even kidding you.
What?
I got this huge
Oh
long
my
sock that I could never wear because it's so big, and I took one of these clips and I clipped it on the side to hold the sock over my eyes so that it was dark, couldn't see anything, and I laid in the hot bath just straight, put my arms to my side, and I played this 10-minute like beach sounds on YouTube. 10 minutes. I said I'm gonna sit there for 10 minutes, not move, not pay attention to anything. And I sat there. And then all of a sudden I hear my neighbor like hitting nails on the wall. And then, in the bathtub, that circle part that like drains some of the water so the water doesn't overflow.
Yeah.
The water got to that point and it started draining some of the water, but there's like this 10-second window where like more air than water goes in and it creates this loud whistle. And that went off and I was like, I'm not gonna be doing good in this one. But I didn't move. I kept my eyes closed. I kind of laughed about it. And then I just sat there. I was just like, whatever. If someone's standing next to me who's about to kill me, whatever, dude. I'm not moving. I'm just gonna sit here. Don't care. And eventually it just like I almost felt like I couldn't move, even if I wanted to. That's how good it felt. I was
Yeah.
never able to relax that much.
dude, when you brought out the sock, you kind of had me worried there for a second.
No,
I'm like, where is this guy going?
it's a diabetes sock. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen one of those before.
No, I don't think so. I didn't know there was such a thing.
It's like a very thick sock because it
You
helps
mean
with
like
like
a
compression.
compression?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like that. And it was the longest thing that I could find that could go around my head. Like, I didn't want to wear a beanie because like the beanie would be on my head the whole time. That'd be annoying and make me like extra warm. But it was probably the only time I was able to just like feel completely relaxed. And it was crazy because it was just 10 minutes. I was like, after 10 minutes, I get up and I do the rest of the shower and get out.
It seems to me that you were trying to recreate a sauna in a
Pretty
sense.
much. Yeah.
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 So you only lasted 10 minutes?
Well, I was just gonna do it for 10 minutes. I think I was gonna be doing something in like 30 minutes, so I was just like 10 minutes. Put the sound on when the 10 minutes is over, or just I finish so I can get out of here.
Yeah. Well, before we continue the show, I wanted to just throw this out there. Everybody who is listening to this show, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at TPP is loading. Again, we are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at TPP is loading. So, Greg, this actually kind of really well. This fits into the conversation today. What brought you to do that? How did you get there?
So I'm not sure exactly why I did that, but oh no, I know why. I know why now. I felt like I wanted to take a nap, and I was like, all right, if I take a nap, it's gonna be 3-4 hours out of the day, and I need to go do something. So let's just go do this power nap, but relax and take a bath at the same time, like get ready for the day at the same time.
Hmm.
And so I was like, screw it, let's do it. And I just tried it, and it worked very well.
But okay, so it didn't have anything to do with the outside world, or maybe you had a stressful week, or it was just something that you just said, well, I feel like taking a nap, and this is the best way for me to do it.
Yeah, that's kind of all it was. I'm trying to think back, like maybe I had seen it, like I was watching a video and someone had done it. Oh, you know what? I don't know if this was before or after, but I did watch this guy who travels the world, and he goes to like typical places, but he kind of goes off the beaten path a little bit too. So like he went to this place in Mexico. I don't know, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like the mushroom capital of Mexico.
Mushroom capital of Mexico?
Yeah, like magic mushrooms.
Let me see if I can find something.
And there's this whole like process they do. They want to make it like this, or like this big thing. So what they do at the start is they actually go in this like mud hut, and they do like a sauna to release all the toxins from your body. They tell you not to eat, and so I don't know, maybe that inspired it a little bit, because they were talking about how good they felt just coming out of the sauna part. But I can't remember if I saw that beforehand or after. And
So
that, I guess that would have to do with the conversation we're going to be talking about.
it seems that it's Oaxaca.
Yes, that sounds
Yeah,
familiar.
Oaxaca.
Yeah.
So I found this article here on Me Too. We are MeToo.com.
Me
Says,
Too?
like MITU.
Oh, so not the Me Too movement.
Me
Okay.
No. It says tourists are flocking to this tiny mountain village for a trip on Mexico's magic mushrooms. For almost 70 years, since Maria Sabina, also known as Santa Sabina, spread the culture around the ritualistic consumption of magic mushrooms in Oaxaca highlands, the world has been fascinated by these special fungi. The region near Huatla de Jimenez, wow, dude, this is where I came from. Particularly places like San Jose del Pacifico has since been swarmed with tourists in months between July and October, both from inner Mexico and from overseas, who want to experience the altered states of consciousness brought by one of nature's most powerful secrets, which is the what kind of psilocybin mushrooms?
Also, I just want to say we're not promoting mushrooms. We're doing this for educational purposes.
Well, let's give some background to this story. It says here, for almost 70 years since Maria Sabina, also known as Santa Sabina. Oh, okay, I already said that. Maria Sabina was a Mazatec curandera, which is like not a witch doctor. So, yeah, somewhat of a witch doctor, or she was well versed in the ancient arts of magic mushrooms and introduced the Western world to their consumption. She soon became a magnet for the rich and powerful who wanted to taste her psilocybin mushrooms. She was born in 1894 and died in 1985. So she saw the world change dramatically during her lifetime. Dude, that's 91 years.
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy. She allowed foreigners into healing evenings known as veladas. She became legendary. A City AM reported in 2018. It was here that in 1955, R. Gordon Wasson, a vice president of J.P. Morgan, an amateur ethnomo- ethnomucologist, consumed psilocybin mushrooms in a ceremony presided over by the healer Maria Sabina. The article Wasson subsequently wrote up for Life magazine seeking the magic mushroom transformed Sabina into a reluctant icon and caught the attention of scientists, including Harvard psychologist Timothy Leary. What allowed is an enduring cult following of the plant. Whoa. So, Greg, this is how you build wealth, huh? The vice president for JP Morgan, came over there to do this. It's
And that
very
was many years ago. I mean, mushrooms aren't legal here.
so.
Are they? No,
Uh,
it's considered a substance, right?
Well, not in California. I think they were just legalized in Oregon and in Colorado.
Everything is legalized in Oregon.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
from what I understand, the reason why they legalized them was because um, it actually helps people cope with death, particularly people who have like cancer or a terminal illness of some sort. Uh, that's basically what they use it for.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's what they said. But if you look in Oregon specifically, they have the highest rate of criminality. So they have the most jails. If you go into a grocery store, more than 50% of them will be ex-cons. It's a very interesting thing. I didn't know about that for a long time. So, of course, that state would probably want that, right? If everyone in the states get in trouble for this substance, that substance, like eventually everyone's just gonna say, "Hey, yeah, we want it," and then laws will change so you can get it. I don't know.
That's very particular to Oregon, like Colorado. They did a lot of studies. I think I can find some here.
I
Where
do think in the long term, legalizing all drugs could make it better, but in the short term, it would be bad because I believe that there's so much like stigma behind drugs. Like in high school, it's like someone smoked pot. You can tell because their whole life was revolved around pot T-shirts, tie-dye hats, saying they smoke all the time. Like, big, oh, what's up, dude? Like, people act too ridiculous. Like this is some like saving grace of the world kind of concept. Like it's almost religious in a sense. And I think that will hurt in the short term. But when it becomes so normal that people don't care anymore and there's no pressure into doing it, that people will do it less. And then therefore it won't be as big of a problem because you're not seen as cool or not cool because you don't do it. Like no one talks to you and pressures you into smoking a cigarette. Like people will offer you one, you say nah, they'll be like, okay.
Of course they do.
But if someone, I've never once seen that. But like if other people are smoking pot and they offer it to you and they're like, oh, are you too cool for this? Like it becomes like a bigger thing.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but see, I can't really comment on it because I've never done it, so I don't know if there's something to it. Everybody
Sure.
says they experience sometimes life changing, uh, perception changing trips. So I don't know.
Everything that I've heard in that sense, like I watched a whole video of this guy who went to, because I actually started looking into the mushroom thing just because the guy's channel was interesting, and he ended up going to this one other. It wasn't in Mexico. I think it was in a European country. I can't remember where he was, but it was a psychedelic festival, and I think you actually showed me a video of this guy once, but he went there and he always talks about psychedelics and how to properly use them and stuff like that. And he went to this festival, everyone kind of knew him, and he would talk to people and he'd ask them like, did you ever go on a trip where like it was life changing? And people would say yes, and he'd ask them to describe it. And they're just like, There was this time I was laying down on the ground and looked up at the stars, and the stars were like dancing. And I was like, how is that life changing? You know what I mean? And it was just like constant story after story of that. That I was just like, how is that life changing? Like, I can understand if you do like a psychedelic trip and you realize, oh, like I'm wasting my life doing this, that, or that. But I typically don't really hear any of that. And when I do, most of them say it didn't last long. It was like 2-3 weeks. I start changing and then I go back.
Yeah. See, I think that's more of an individual. There are people
Yeah.
who, have some accounts where they've changed their entire life. It seems that it's now also been accepted into microdosing for like people with PTSD. And
See, I could understand that because I've heard PTSD actually, like, you can see the brain has actually changed
Mhm.
when it comes down to like people who went to war or like very traumatic things happen like as a kid, those kind of things. Uh, your brain gets reworked. So if you take something like that reworks it
Every
in a different direction, then maybe it can help.
So I don't know if I can find the article right now, but okay. So first of all, yeah, Colorado. They had this movement in Colorado. They basically in June 2019 and January 2020 they became decriminalized just psilocybin. But when it comes to all these, I mean, this is the thing, right? And actually, let's get to that part. Why you just said it yourself. There are sometimes people say, why am I doing this when I should be doing that? And to me, that sounds a lot like procrastination. It's been an ongoing theme for this week of mine. And just to give you a little bit of context, last week, Greg, I worked so many hours I couldn't even count.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I found myself working up till just about midnight a few days. So that was very interesting. And then this week I had ups and downs, you know. And something that came up, I was talking to my doctor, and after seeing Super Bowl and seeing, I think there was a fight Saturday night, so I watched that. There was Super Bowl, which I watched. I started just thinking about this thing that my doctor said is about entertainment and how entertainment is affecting us as a species,
Uh-huh.
particularly the human psyche. And the more I look into it, the less the it just seems like the less I know of what I used. It's like you start figuring out some stuff that you kind of knew existed, but it was never like you didn't really know or understood it.
Yeah.
Um, and so when we were talking about like these psychedelics, like to me it seems like, and not just psychedelics, but substance in general. It's a form of disconnecting from reality, and so is any type of entertainment, whether it's YouTube videos, social media, the Super Bowl, sports, gaming, and all of these various entertainment uh, areas that we have in the new age, right?
Yeah.
So what's going on? Like, I want to kind of pick this apart. Like, what's going on with this and people? Why is it so popular? Why is the Super Bowl so popular? Why is gaming so popular? Why is social media so popular? And again, I'm not like trying to hate on this stuff. I just want to bring it into light because it's something that I don't hear from people. It's very
Yeah.
very rare that we hear something like this from people. Um, well, the most apparent reason to me is, we are escaping reality. You know, life is difficult, and it has its ups and it has its downs. And there's a lot of enjoyment, a lot of love, but also there's a lot of pain and suffering. So how do we cope with that? We as people, we tend to go outside of ourselves to find this mechanism. We're basically handing ourselves to either a substance, whether that's alcohol or psychedelics or whatever it may be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we cannot cope with our current reality. And that's what it seems to me. I don't know what you think about that.
That is one of the things I talked about in quite a few of the videos, is people trying to escape that issue or problem they were starting to take these mushrooms in the first place for. So they're trying to be enlightened about something. They're trying to understand something and trying to, I don't know, get rid of it in some way or learn how to fix whatever the issue is. So I think it also kind of comes back to the entertainment in a sense. Like, if you don't know how to do something, what are you going to do? You're going to go pick up a book, or are you going to probably go to Google or YouTube and ask them how to do something and figure it out that way?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the same. Like you said, some people think there's life-changing things taking mushrooms. So they take the mushrooms so the mushrooms can give them the answer instead of trying to figure it out themselves, kind of. But I mean, at the same time, these are tools, like we said in a past podcast, how like a shovel is a tool. A shovel is never knocking on your door saying, hey, come use me. A shovel is there to be picked up to dig a hole or to be used for a specific purpose and then put down.
Right.
So that's kind of what it comes down to. I said I was learning two things this week. Well, the other one was the stock market. I jumped in right before the whole meme stock thing happened, and I put in some money, and I wanted to buy cryptocurrency. So I bought some cryptocurrency. It had gone up, and then the whole GameStop thing happened, and I felt like I was in early enough because I was in before it became news, and I think I told you about it, and you're kind of like, what is this whole thing about? I saw it earlier. I actually had saw it a week before, and my roommate's really into stocks. So he's like, did you see the thing about GameStop? I said, yeah, I looked at it, and I keep seeing it, but I don't know anything about it. And then he did some research, and he was like, oh, I'm jumping in. And we jumped in a little too late. Or at least I did, because I went into Nokia instead of GameStop. And so in that process, I lost money, but it gave me the capabilities to understand and read the market a little bit and start pushing myself to have to understand why the stock can go up and down before I lose all my money or not. So then I jumped into YouTube. I started using YouTube to get all these people's ideas, jumped into Twitter, started researching, and I started finding all these names that similar people start to say in all these different locations. And I look into the stock, and I jumped into another stock, and that thing blew up like 80%. And so this is not typical trading at all. Like I've done research and I've looked around, and everyone's like, yeah, don't expect more than 2%, like here and there. Like if you can find something and people jump onto it, you're going to get a big gain right away. So I recently just pulled out all my money. I made back my money that I had lost from the meme stocks.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, I can throw my money into something and hope it goes up, or I can make another list and go from there. And so that's what I'm doing. But it upsets me because you can see a stock go up that you're like, I think I'm going to do this. Like there was one that I just looked at and it went up 20% after I decided not to buy it. That was.
I'm
I
just
was
gonna
pissed.
I'm gonna throw this in there. Just hashtag paper hands.
No, I did paper hands, bro. I did not paper hands.
So
Mine
okay,
is different.
so you were saying that so YouTube became a tool for you to use in order for you to learn trading in
Correct.
stocks, right?
Yeah, but I
So
also made sure that I was doing the research on the side of these companies. So I'm using YouTube as the tool to give me quick knowledge from a bunch of different people to
mhm.
then go and do my own research somewhere else to actually look into the company. So I'm using these people as a way of showing me new companies. Then I do the research myself on these companies because it's all just it's all speculation. Like there's certain things where it's like if you could have jumped into Apple the day before they announced the iPhone,
Mhm.
iPhone is game changing. Like that stock's gonna go up. But you wouldn't have known that the iPhone was coming out, and there wouldn't have been as a big of an explosion if the iPhone didn't come out.
Yeah.
So it's all speculation, and it's all for the most part a gamble, except for like a few things are like very high guarantees.
Yeah. So you think like stocks is? I mean, you're kind of just replacing. That's you. I mean, you're limited in what you can do, right? Because of work.
Yeah.
So stocks is like the side hustle that you're learning. Hope
Uh,
it goes well.
Stocks is I'm putting some of my savings into it to hope to grow it more than I would get from a bank.
Yeah.
The money I put in the bank, I'll get like $1 a year from.
Right.
If I can make $2 a year in stocks, I made more money.
Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to so that's something new that you learned. What about gaming? Where does the enjoyment come from? Is that something that you think that like I mentioned, it's something that maybe it's an escape? How does that feel for you?
Um, I don't know if it's an escape. I guess you can consider it that because you don't want to do anything else but play that specific game. Because the type of games I get into have a whole world, a whole community, and takes time to gather things, whether it be armor or materials, things like that. And you can't really just come on, play for 45 minutes, jump off, and then like 2 days later come on for 45 minutes. Like you're not really accomplishing much.
Mm-hmm.
And as you accomplish more and more, there's also the return of being able to say like look, my prestige, I was able to do this. I guess it's like if you think about like going to school and then graduating, it's like once you hit the graduation, you're like, yeah, I'm done. I
Yeah.
did it. I guess it kind of gives you that same kind of feeling.
Do you think that you find that difficult outside of that game?
I mean, I don't like face to face interaction. So maybe this gives me that face to face interaction that I feel like I need.
Yeah. See, that makes sense. And I'm not trying to put you on blast here,
I don't care.
but uh, well, I'm just saying because it's interesting because imagine like how many people watch the Super Bowl? Like,
I mean, that's another question. How many people actually watch the Super Bowl? Like I went to a Super Bowl party and I probably watched it for a total of like 3 minutes, which means like 2 plays. Like I
really?
remember, yeah, like we just stood around, talked, had some drinks, messed around. Like the only thing we paid attention to is because we were doing the squares, so we had
Mhm.
to pay attention to what the score was at the end of the quarters. Outside of that, I don't think anyone was actually looking at the TV. There's like 5 people sitting. We were at this person's house, and in their kitchen, there's a giant island, and all the food was on the island. So we were all stood around that talking, and there was like half the people's backs were to the TV the whole time. So it's really just a time to hang out.
Yeah,
It's
for
kind of
some,
like
right?
yeah, it's kind of like President's Day. You know what I mean? Like there are people out there who do things like thank the president and stuff like that, but like realistically, like what are we doing on President's Day? We don't have school, and some people get work off, but why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like who else? We used to celebrate like Lincoln's birthday, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's like why? Like what? Why are we celebrating this guy's birthday? Like sure he did something good, but why is that determining that kids don't go to school?
I don't know. I guess it's an excuse to I'm sure it has something to do with the budget, and whatever the allocation for the budget is, and how many days teachers get paid or whatever. But so when it comes to like the Super Bowl, so 94 million watched it. 94 million people watched it.
Is it the
We're like we're
numbers
like
we've ever had?
what's up?
I thought that was the lowest numbers they've ever had too.
Maybe. And then so there's like 380. Oh, what is it? How many people are there? We have 328 million people in the US. So that's about what, three, like a quarter? A quarter of the people in the US watched it. And let's say that maybe half of those people didn't really watch, just like you said. It was like an excuse to get together, hang out with family. But nevertheless, there's a lot of people who were involved with they're heavily involved with the teams. Like they pick teams. It becomes like an almost like an identification for them. It's like you said, it's like a community. It's a
Yeah.
community who you gather with, who you have things in common with, and it's much better than maybe than your real life. Maybe you don't like the place you work in. Maybe you don't get along with anybody there. And so it's just interesting to see how people find these common interests and then gather around them. And then if you're from the other team, you start fighting with the other team, or oh, we hate that team, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's the same case for everything. Something that I because I watched this a fight, right, Saturday night,
Hmm.
and it was a big UFC fight. And we kind of knew it was coming, but it was sort of an upset, uh, with this fight. But let's take a look at like the Conor McGregor and Poirier fight.
Uh-huh.
Conor lost. It was the first time that he was knocked out. That was the big upset. And so I imagine like people who really love him as a fighter, how upset they must have felt. Like it was like if they were robbed something. It
Yeah.
kind of becomes part of them, not just it's not even just about the sport. It becomes part of them. So, like, is this like it's a phenomenon that I think it's new to this age. I think that obviously we've had things like it in the past, but I don't think that it's ever been as prominent as it is now. And what you may ask, what phenomena are you talking about? Basically, the entertainment is robbing our attention from things that matter. Like,
Yeah.
okay, this whole week, dude, I like you, I was involved in the meme stocks. I hopped on when you guys hopped on. I took a look. I lost a little bit of money, not too much, but I did lose some money. But I maybe I shouldn't have done it, and I kind of went against my gut feeling. Like my initial feeling was, I'll just take a look, and maybe I'll just paper trade so that I can learn, the just the game, right? And so when I started seeing that, I was losing a little bit, I became more and more involved in it. And so even like during work hours, I will just like, if I had a minute, instead of like walking around, maybe I would take a look at the stock and hope that it would shoot back up. And it became this whole thing, and then ultimately what it led to was distraction, the distraction of the work that needed to be done. And that's where I became aware of that, and that's why we're having this podcast now. Hadn't I become aware, we'd probably be stuck to the computer, hoping that the stock goes back up. And this was the reason why I wanted to share this message with everybody. I don't know if you felt the same thing, Greg.
With the
Like,
stocks, yeah, I'm watching them right now.
oh man, dude, I'm telling you, it's again, reality will be tough. It's tough. It's painful. It's suffering, and we need to face it. Whether it's now or tomorrow, we will need to face it.
Yeah.
That's basically the like what it comes down to. Everybody's reality is going to be different, and for some it'll be good, for some it'll be bad, and for the people who would say, "Oh, well, I don't want, I want to procrastinate," nah, I know I need to do that, but I'll just wait. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to do it anyway. You know, so that's kind of like where my mentality is at right now. I mean, even
But
this.
Sooner or later, you're gonna have to do something.
Well, it's just recognizing the fact that sooner or later you're gonna have to do it, and that can go for, brushing your teeth, to taking a shower, with basics. It'll go back to the basics. It'll go to, do you have a timeline? Do you have options trading on your on your on your stocks? Am I gonna wait and sell, or am I gonna sell? And no matter what, if you lose, you're gonna lose. So no, it doesn't matter if you wait it out,
Yes and no.
right?
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. It's just you have a time and a place for everything, and do it when it's in your time and your place.
Yeah, but it's even
So
a
it's
bit
like
more.
right now, I had no reason to go outside, and I've had a full trash bag sitting in my kitchen because I can't put it outside.
Yeah.
I can't put it outside because the squirrels will eat it and tear it apart. But I have no reason to walk all the way down the stairs, all the way around my building to throw away my trash because I have no reason to go outside.
But Greg, isn't that your reason
To
go
throw away the
outside?
trash?
Yeah.
I guess.
See, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Look, yesterday, we were supposed to do a podcast. It's Thursdays. We usually schedule it on Thursdays, and for whatever reason, my day just went by because I'm trying to catch up on work.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can see Leia back there. Leia, Leia's back there. She's tired because the whole day, usually I'll take her for a walk. I take her to the dog park or whatever. Yesterday, the whole day was going and going, and it was like 5 p.m. and I said, man, I didn't even take her for a walk. Like, I took her out so she can pee and poop or whatever, but not for an actual walk so she can get some exercise.
Yeah.
And at 5 p.m. when I finally unplugged from the computer, I saw her, and she kind of gave me that face like, oh man, you're such an ass. You're such an ass today for not taking me out. And so, what did I do? Instead of saying, oh, I'll take her tomorrow, I basically went, grabbed her ball, and we just went across the street to the park that we have in front, and I chucked it. We were there for 45 minutes, and then she loved it. Look, she's still sleeping. It's freaking 2 p.m. now. So, if I hadn't done that, it's gonna affect her. If it's gonna affect her if I don't take her out, you know, because they're dogs are like humans. Their mentality, their emotions, they're emotional. They're called sentient beings, right? They're
Mhm.
like humans, so they feel like humans feel, except they can't talk. So, I didn't want her to be a little depressed dog, so that's why I took her out. So I wanted to get a little bit into this now that we're talking about it, procrastination. And I did a little bit of research on that. And
Okay.
I'll show you. They, according to this article from businessinsider.com, there are four main types of procrastinators. Um, let's see. Let's go with number one. What? How about you take a wild guess, Greg? What kind of procrastinators do you think there are?
Um, Waiting. I don't know the exact terms, but like waiting to the last minute to do something.
Uh huh.
Um, I don't know. I guess that's the only thing I can think of.
That's a good one because that's actually number one on their list. The performer who says, "I work well under pressure," and dude,
Okay.
this is me. I always do this, dude. Always do this. And I always say that for whatever reason. I always say that. I'm like, oh, I work well under pressure. And when I read this today, I was like, damn,
Well,
you
I think the
freaking.
whole point of work well under pressure means you're working well or you're doing more than what you were previously doing, which is nothing, which makes you feel like you're doing more. And you're under pressure because you know you have to get it done. If you don't, then you're screwed. So you get it as much done in the least amount of time as possible and you feel like you did it.
Hmm. But didn't you tell? Weren't we talking about this a few weeks ago, where you said, like I need a reason to do certain things. If I don't
Yeah.
have, like you said right now about the trash, I don't have a reason to go outside,
Yeah.
dude. So it's not until it starts stinking in your apartment, or your landlord says, "Hey, Greg, tomorrow we have the bank, you know, coming take a look. We're going to refinance. They're going to come take a look. We need to access your unit." So because you now have a reason, then you're going to go and take the trash out,
Hey,
right?
you're reducing my rent? No, I'll leave my trash right there. Yeah.
So the performer who says, "I work well under pressure." This procrastinator forces himself to focus by shrinking the time they have to tackle a task. For many of our clients, the real reason behind this is perfectionism. If you're tight on time, there's no way to the task can be done to your unreasonably high standards anyway, right? For others,
Mhm.
the issue is simply falling back into an old pattern and belief that we have about 11th hour saves. I don't know. No matter what, being in the habit of putting pressure on yourself is not sustainable. So the biggest challenge is getting started. And I think that this is where I fall. Like it's we already talked about this many times before, Greg. July 4th, we're gonna do a bikini barbecue at the beach, and we're gonna have to take pictures. And I'm pretty sure that you and I, or me at least, if I don't take action today, a week before, I'm gonna be running a marathon. I'm
Not
gonna be
eating for
more.
a week.
I'm gonna freaking dehydrate myself. I'm gonna be running marathons. I'm gonna be in the sauna, wearing the hot suits, the track suits. So what's the solution? Flip the script and set a start date when you focus on when you're going to begin a task, and don't and not when you hope to end it. You'll take a tremendous amount of pressure off yourself. That's me, dude. I'm that kind of procrastinator. The
Yeah.
second one is the self deprecator who says, "I am so lazy right now." This procrastinator is the opposite of lazy. So when they don't do something, they are extra hard on themselves. We see this a lot with our male clients. But what if we don't? Uh, what if? What was I gonna say?
It's
What
like,
if we don't identify as male?
oh, it's like
They
my son when he has to do it. He's starting to get homework now. They want to get him to get used to kindergarten. So I go, hey, it's time to do schoolwork. It's like, oh, I'm melting. I'm too tired. I'm like, all right, you want to go get ice cream? Yeah, let's go. Too bad you're too tired.
Insta karma. That's funny. That's a good way to teach them.
Yeah.
So these types of clients they tend to blame inaction on laziness or stubbornness rather than admit they're tired. What they really need is to be more compassionate with themselves. Your biggest challenge, taking a break. We already know you're going to say you don't have the time to rest. The solution, recharge. Try taking a walk to give yourself space and to begin to rebuild your energy. So actually this I'm gonna say that I'm a mix of both.
Mhm.
For the second one, where you're hard on yourself and you're calling yourself lazy, and then what you need to do is recharge. Well, Saturday, which was this past weekend, I went to the snow again. And while
Okay.
I was up there, I mean, I first of all I had a blast, right? It was fun. Um, oh, you know what, dude? I went not Saturday, it was Sunday, the day of the Super Bowl. Except we went at like 4 a.m. So we were able to go spend like 5 hours, about 6 hours over there, and then drive back in time for Super Bowl.
Really? Okay.
So while we were up there, I realized as I'm going up this mountain, right? Like, so we can slide down, we can sled down or whatever. I'm thinking, man, I'm nowhere near where I'm supposed to be with work, and I'm over here having fun. And that thought just triggered this whole like, I would say like anxious feeling of, "Oh, I need to get back," and I'm kind of like, I'm wasting time now, right?
Yeah.
And it's because one, I wasn't prepared for the meeting, you know, on for Wednesday. Two, there were there were many things I needed to do on Monday that I had not prepared for, and now I'm in the mountains, and I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl, and there goes my whole day.
Yeah.
But also, when I was up there, I realized, well, it's not so bad. Like right now, I can just focus on. I'm already here. I can just focus on having fun, spending time with family, and getting in some exercise. And once I started thinking that way, dude, everything just went away. It was fun. I had a blast. Um, Honestly, I think I messed up my tailbone. I couldn't sit down for like next 2 days, but ultimately it was really really fun. And so once I came back on Monday, I was clear headed. I was a bit more prepared. I had more energy, and I attacked my week that way. But then you know Tuesday was a little off. Wednesday was really good. Yesterday was a little off, and today, we're started with this podcast. So hopefully we can end today on a strong note. Um, so we'll go back to the list. Number three, the overbooker who says, "I'm so busy." This procrastinator is a pro at filling up their calendar and is often overwhelmed. "I am so busy" is probably the excuse we hear most often. Interestingly, some of the busiest people we work with get the most done. When busyness comes up as an excuse for not doing something, it's usually an indication of avoidance. Rather than facing a challenge head on or admitting that they don't want to do something, it's easier to place the blame on having other important things to do. The biggest challenge for those people is creating chaos to avoid facing what you know you need to face right now. Typically, this is not a task. I mean, I've kind of been that person too sometimes.
Yeah.
Um I think we know many people
Yeah.
like that.
I didn't take
Uh
out the trash today. I was too busy.
So, what's the solution? Take a moment of introspection. Ask yourself, what am I really avoiding? And that ties into what we were mentioning before. Like entertainment becomes this way of avoiding things. Like, oh, you'll be watching this podcast when you're supposed to be working, or you'll be watching this podcast while you have to be like doing homework or whatever. We'll be doing this podcast during a work day. Like, it's we just have to face it. That's it. There's no other way. We just have to face it. Number 4, the novelty seeker who says, "I just had the best idea." Oh man, dude, this is like it's like me, and me over and over and over, dude.
Yeah.
This procrastinator has a terminal case of shiny object syndrome. I mean, this kind of what happened to us with the stocks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're constantly coming up with a new project to take on and then getting bored with them a week later. They're intrigued by the latest trend and will be quick to implement but not follow through. They're great at making decisions and taking action. However, they end up inadvertently losing a lot of time and burning out because they don't take consistent action in one direction long enough to see results. Many of our entrepreneurial clients fit in this category. Your solution. Well, first of all, what is the biggest challenge for these types of people? And that would be completion. What's the
Yeah.
solution? Make it stick, literally. Write down a new idea or project on a sticky note, but don't pursue them until you finish what you are currently working on. Dude, this is I've been this person too. Many
Yeah.
times. In fact, if it wasn't for that reason, we probably wouldn't be doing this podcast. However, now we're being consistent. We're putting some effort in. We're making it better for the people listening to this show, or if you're watching us on any of the platforms like Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, you'll see that we have a nice background. We kind of had to lose the studio, but the production is still getting better every day. Um, on that note, if you guys have any feedback, we'd really appreciate it. Um, yeah, dude. What do you think,
Sounds
Greg?
with the procrastination, um, I'm on a website that shows ways to get out of procrastination, and one of them has like a habit list.
Mm-hmm.
So you write down the different habits that you want. So like the example here, it shows a yes or no if every day you did the habit, and you just mark it. And
Like
then
a checklist?
yeah, so all your habits. This one has walking or waking up at 7:30 or earlier, exercising, running, and alcohol. So they want to have less than 2 glasses of wine a day.
I was gonna say,
oh
I'm like,
man,
damn, 7:30 and alcohol. What is going on there?
these are just some goals they wrote down for an example.
Okay.
So
Okay.
on day 1, if you did all of them, then you mark yes. And then did you wake up before 7 a.m.? You mark yes. You write the time. You exercise today. You mark yes. You write what you did. The alcohol, you write how many glasses you had, or if you didn't have any, you mark it yes. And then it's not a way to necessarily beat yourself. It's a way of saying, did you do something or did you not? And just trying to get you into a process of doing something. And that's actually back when I lost close to, I think it was 80 pounds when I first started. That's what I did. When I went to work, I started ordering only kids' meals. If I wanted something, it had to be from the kids' meal. So I ate less. And then...
Hey, that's interesting. That's cool.
And then from there, I set a date far down. I think it was like 5 months down the line. So I said New Year's. New Year's, I'm going to start this for 2 years. The first 3 days of the year, I'm gonna fast and only drink like homemade juices, but I wasn't gonna use any fruit. It was all gonna be vegetables. And I made sure the vegetables that I was juicing had enough protein so I could last the 3 days. And so previous to that, I just made it so all my portions were smaller. I could eat whatever I wanted. I just was eating small portions of it, everything. So my stomach size was able to shrink, get ready for this. And I guess I created a habit list without thinking of it. So a habit list would help. Just write down the habits that you want and try to do them to the maximum effort that you can do that day. So it's like, if you don't want to exercise one day, that's fine. Do 10 push-ups. Write that down that you did 10 push-ups. Because then the next time, when you come back and you review it at the end of the week or however long, you're going to see like, oh, that day I half-assed it. This day I didn't even do anything. That day I had way too much food or whatever the goal was. And it helps you kind of see what you're doing yourself in the past and kind of create that habit of just doing a little bit more. Like I could have done 11 push-ups that day, but I only did 10. So this time on your lazy day, you're like, I'm gonna beat my last lazy day. And then it just becomes natural in a sense.
You know what? This kind of inspires me to do our very own TPP habit list that maybe we'll link to this video later on YouTube. We can maybe put the link down in our bio so that people can just access this to-do list, habit list, so that it's something I'm going to start using, and then maybe next time we're on, we can share and see how it went.
Yeah, how about you and I come up with a habit list, like today and tomorrow, and we create one that has to do with each other, and we can mark our own habits and see how we progress.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can do that. And then maybe we can even do one that's how can we share? We can share it on Google Drive.
Yeah, we can just do like a spreadsheet, like Google spreadsheets or any of that, and you can just set it to a public so that people can't affect it, but they can see it.
Yeah, I want people to see our list, and then if they want to submit their own, and maybe we can do that. If it's February 12th, it's already 2.5 months since the new year. I said it myself. Oh, I'm gonna get back in shape this year. I still haven't done it. Here I am putting it off. So we got to change that. And you're in the same boat. Hop on this year's challenge, the TPP challenge we're creating right now. Change your habits, change your life. Next thing you know, we're gonna become Tony Robinson.
or Kathy Wood.
Who's that?
It's a lady who does like she actually, I think she's part of ARK Invest actually, but she does like wellness like talks, like in the sense of like how to improve yourself. So like her and her husband, their cell phones never go into the bedroom. So like they have alarm clocks in the room instead of their cell phones, or their cell phones are just outside of the room where the alarms, you can hear them.
Mm-hmm.
So that like when it becomes nighttime, they can go to sleep. They don't want to roll over, check their email. And different things in the sense of making sure to wake up properly in the morning. Don't ingest things that are gonna affect your wake up process, and just ways to get yourself ready for the day rather than just starting your day.
Yeah, that's good. Those are good things to do prior to going to sleep. Like for the longest time, I never had it's been, gosh, maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 years where I haven't had it. Actually, no, scratch that. There was like 7 months where I did have a TV in my room. For the past, I wouldn't say 7 years, um, consistently, I have not had a TV in my room, and it's helped a lot. Like a lot. Like there's no movies. Like if we're watching a movie, we're downstairs watching it in the living room, and then when it's time for bed, it's time for bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now I have a this computer here in the room, but outside of that, like I don't turn it on to watch TV or none of that.
So I have 4 TVs in my room. The one behind me, I have 2 for my computer, and then I have 1 more for my son in his little like closet room.
What the?
So I've always had TVs, but I spent too much time on my computer, and so my eyes kind of like got jacked up, and it was giving me really bad vertigo.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got some of these like blue light glasses.
Put them on.
So typically,
you look like I think I told you off air. You look like a guy from NSYNC.
And they call me Gunther. So I wear these like all the time when I'm sitting on my computer. I use them, and it's definitely like the end of the day, my eyes feel fine. Like I don't have that drain on them. And so I wear these all the time. And I told my son that I got sick because I was looking at my screen too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got vertigo and I got really dizzy and I would throw up. And it happened to me like 2 or 3 times because it was just like, I felt fine. So I did the same thing again. And then I finally realized that that's what it was.
So how much time like were you spending in front of the TV?
I mean, in front of my computer, I would probably spend like 9 hours a day at least.
Oh my, but like straight 9 hours straight.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Greg. That's
like
crazy.
there's no like I said, I don't go outside. I have my exercise bike right here, so I literally just move my computer chair, put my exercise bike right here, and I watch something or I do research because I bought a wireless keyboard that has a mouse track, so I can put it on my exercise bike. And I've been doing a lot of research on stocks, on companies, and so when I do my exercise bike, I use that time usually to do research on different companies.
What kind of I know you mentioned that the bike is portable. What kind of exercise bike is it?
It's called Lanos.
Lanos?
Yeah, look, I'm moving it over with one hand. That's how like light it is. And then I just set it up right here, sit on it and go. I can even just leave it to the side. I just thought it would look bad in the background. So like I got a ton of space right here, and I use it. But like even that, so I'll be sitting on that doing research. I'm still looking at the screens.
Yeah.
So I told my son that I was getting sick because I was spending too much time on the computer. And so at nighttime, he comes over to me and he goes, "Dad, it's time to get off. You're going to get sick." So lately, I guarantee my computer turns off by 10 o'clock. So I get up usually 10 o'clock and turn everything off, and I make sure to go to sleep because it's kind of something that was drilled into me because I used to work mostly mornings all the way out in Long Beach. So it was like a 45-minute drive, and I had to be there by like 6:45. So I'd have to be up at like 5:30 taking a shower, and then having him as a baby and then another kid, they would wake me up super early. So I usually kind of typically wake up early now, not by choice, but by like habit almost.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go to sleep too late, then I wake up too early, and that contributes to vertigo because you're not getting enough rest.
Yeah.
So all those things together, now he has created a habit passively of getting me off by 10 o'clock by saying, "Hey, you're going to get sick. Come on."
That's funny, dude. what about him? Does he tend to spend a lot of time on the screen?
To tell the truth, if I allow, it's not necessarily that I allow him to just sit there and watch all the time, but I give him the choice. So like he'll be like, "Can I have your phone to watch something?" And I hand it to him, and he'll sit there and watch for a while, and then he'll get up and he'll just walk around,
Like
pick
for
up a toy, and start playing with the toy, and it'll still be on so he can hear it. So I don't mess with it. I just let it stay on, and he typically just kind of walks away and plays. So I don't find it to be that big of an issue. There's sometimes, like especially when we go outside, he never asks for it anymore, really. Like if we're in a big group and like he feels left out in a sense, so like the Super Bowl party, he doesn't care about football. There are so many people around. I'm trying to talk to my friends. I'm not really directly playing with him. He's gonna be bored. He's gonna want something to do, and he asks for the phone like for that. But I gave it to him, and then the person who owned the house comes out and says, "Oh, I got some toys." And it was like this car mat that it's like the train car mat thing. And she brought a bunch of toys, and he put the phone down and started playing with the toys. So it can be an issue sometimes, but it's not typically an issue. He really prefers to play. He's very loving, and because he's between two houses too, I think that's another reason. He feels like he doesn't have enough time. So am I gonna sit here and watch this, or am I gonna play with my dad?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense, man. That's good. It's good to teach him that, because I'm telling you, and I think this is something that when we grew up we weren't aware of. We grew up with the internet and games, and everything was still evolving. Like the entertainment was still evolving. There was many times where I think that I was lucky in a sense, because I like playing outside more than I like playing inside.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where I get the type of awareness. Like when I start seeing myself being inside and just being on the computer like all day, I like it just I'm like, wait, what am I doing? I
Yeah.
reach a point where I'm like, what am I doing? I can't be here for 9 hours, Greg. Like I have to go outside.
I find it a little different. Like I don't like to spend money, and because all my friends are so far away, I calculate everything in as money. So it's like for me to go to your house, it's like $10,
Yeah.
$15, gas, yada yada. Maybe when I get there, you're like, hey, let's go to eat. So it's like I factor it all in. I'm like, do I want to spend $30 today, or do I want to just stay home and play video games and save the money?
Well,
So
that's a
because
different goal, right?
because that's something that I did a long time ago when we got into the gym. Is I said, hey, we need to find something that we can all do that gets us out of the house, that's either free or like isn't going to cost us a lot. And I was like, gym membership. It's the same amount. We get unlimited use. We get all these different things, and we can all meet up there. We don't have to spend any money. At the end of it, we go home.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I got into it. It got me out of the house to do something at a consistent rate, that I wasn't like, let's go see a movie. After the movie, let's go to dinner. And all these different things that just added up and added up and added up.
That does add up, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like without even knowing it. Like if you go to movies, hopefully AMC goes to the moon. But if you go to the movies now, you spend $100. It's what is it? Like $30 in, maybe $40 in food, in the tickets, depending if you want to, watch it in what is it? The
IMAX.
Then it's food, and then maybe it's candy.
Yeah.
So that's like $100 date. Not cheap.
Nope.
Yeah, dude, it's expensive, man.
I'd like to say that's why I don't date, but that might be one of the reasons.
Oh, dude, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's ultimately I think that people just need to be aware of, and again, I don't want to be preaching. This is just my personal take on the development of this week for me when it comes to procrastination. And when we start finding other means to escape our reality, I think that becomes very dangerous. Whether that's, it's, I don't know, watching movies all day, playing video games all day, or even substance, using substance. It's we just need to be aware, and hopefully, people get this message, people spread this message, and we start facing the reality of life, because sooner or later it's gonna have to be faced. So it doesn't matter. I mean, you can wait till you die, but then even who knows if you still have to face it once you die, if you believe in that, you know.
Yeah.
So you never know, dude. I think that you know, people out there listening, you know, if you're watching this podcast and you're not supposed to be, you're supposed to be doing something else. Get off your, get your headphones off, put the phone down, go face reality, and then come back. And then if this podcast has helped you in any way, again, you can share our profile. You can share your Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, even YouTube, at TPP is loading. If you don't have, let's say that you're listening to this podcast and you don't have time to finish it today because you realize that you're procrastinating, you need to get shit done, you can save it for later. You can send it to yourself, you can send it to friends, and let us know. Join the TPP movement, which is helping people understand people. And yeah, I think that's it, man. I think
Yeah,
that's it
it's a
today.
fun one.
So, Greg, next time I think we'll be having some guests. The next podcast, we'll plan for that. We'll let you guys know when we're gonna go live. Again, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. If you're listening to this podcast, or if you don't have time to watch this podcast and you would like to listen to it, you can find us on Stitcher, Google Podcast, uh, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. And so yeah, man. Do you have any last closing thoughts?
No, you can also check out Teespring. Teespring has a shirt and a poster up if you want to support the progression of thought process. Helps us purchase new gear or pay for the subscriptions that we have. And that's it. Looking good. We'll see you next time, guys.
So with that, we'll see you guys next week.